It's bonus objective time. I kept this one simple between Don Bluth's sequel movies, so it was down to American Tail or Secret of Nim. I'm doing one more bonus objective next month, but for now, it's time for Fievel to go west. Ideas for this movie have been around since 1988. David Kirshner wanted a John Ford Western with Jewish mice, even saying that Fievel will fight the cattle barons. That's kind of funny. Flint Dille would write the screenplay, though he left without entering full production. At this point, the Richard Williams animation studio closed down, so Steven Spielberg created Amblimation to keep his animation team going, especially when parting ways with Don Bluth after The Land Before Time. Since Bluth wouldn't be involved in this, Spielberg would get Phil Nibbelink and Simon Wells to direct, though Don Bluth later admitted to regretting his choice to stay out because of the end product. Even David Kirshner turned against the sequel in hindsight, saying it was entertainment without character. What happened, you might ask? Well, saddle up, partner, and let's find out. We opened in the town of Green River, Utah, where Fievel seems to tell the story of Sheriff Wiley Burp, voiced by the late James Stewart in his last film role, who may or may not be a reference to Wyatt Earp. He's surrounded by cats, because again, they are usually the baddies in animation, and the only one who can save him is Fievel.
Oh. Have no fear, Billy the Kid is here!
Oh, you wish. But damn, he just go into town shooting the guns out of their hands and running them out of town. Wiley presents him with his own deputy star.
Up behind you, kid.
Driver, your supper's ready.
Damn daydream ending suppers. So yeah, it's been 5 years since the last movie. Fievel is still voiced by Philip Glaser. Papa and Mama are voiced by Nehemiah Persoff and Erica Yohn. But Tanya is now voiced by Kathy Cavadini, who's best known as Blossom from the Powerpuff Girls. Tanya wants to be a singer, but with how people are throwing stuff at her, she might not be good at it.
Papa, they're throwing fruit and vegetables at me again.
Keep singing. Maybe they will throw some fruit for dessert.
Although this makes me wonder how they actually hear you if they see you as normal mice. Squeak, squeak, squeak. And Fievel is currently obsessed with cowboys and westerns, which isn't unusual for growing boys at the time. The scene is also a comparison with how life here isn't that much better than staying in Russia. We still get the political commentary to show that American hypocrisy of seeing the US as a land of opportunity whilst denying it to all but a select few. The sequel feels like a proper continuation of a story concerning immigrants in a foreign land. So far. Outside we see Tiger, once again voiced by Dom DeLuise, trying to convince his girlfriend Miss Kitty, voiced by Amy Irving, out of a crazy plan of hers.
I got a ticket to Sunshine and I'm going west. I heard there's a town that promises a new frontier.
Well, nothing says opportunity like taking land away from the natives. Miss Kitty responds by hoping to have someone who could be more like a dog. As if only dogs can be tough and brave and not cats. I do appreciate them quoting Casablanca, though.
There are no goodbyes between you and me, Tiger. After all, we'll always have the Bronx. Here's looking at you, Kit.
Now, I will say that the quality of the art and animation is still really damn good compared to the other Don Bluth sequel films. The designs are very close to what Don Bluth would have done, and the backgrounds are well painted. Aside from some odd perspectives, the animation is also handled really well. But now comes a rehash of old plot points. Like at the start of the first movie, the mice have to put up with cat attacks. Some of them look like the ones from the Dream, so...
Pay attention. Keep it clean and tidy. Plenty of violence, but no eating.
John Cleese, what are you doing here? This is Cat Arwal, and clearly he's up to something if all he's having the cats do is terrorize the residents. We get the first of 2 Tony cameos. He and Bridget have a kid now, but otherwise the Moscowists must hide. Fievel ain't running, though.
I forgot my hat.
Wait, what? How? Huh? Tiger would help, if only to prove himself to Kitty, but that cowboy spider spooks him. And like Steve Urkel associating a costume with courage, Fievel suddenly realizes that he's outsized and outmatched by the much larger feline. Luckily, Papa uses his violin to annoy the cat. The family gets away in a rolling tuna can and ends up in the sewers. We, of course, have to have a river rapids scene that should be scary, but Fievel finds it fun. I suppose when you spend time fantasizing westerns, this just feels like a day at the park.
Let's go on that ride again.
That didn't sound like his usual voice. The family comes upon a gathering of mice, listening to the offers of better living in the West, and oh, you gotta be kidding me. How are all of you fooled by this puppet? Wall is right up there pulling the strings. You would think someone would look up and notice. But what really gets me is this claim.
Because on the frontier, cats and mice help each other.
There are 2 good cats in this movie, but after all the crap these mice have been through, and are still going through more, why would they be so sure about coexistence with cats? Fievel is only interested because he mentions Wiley, but the rest of the family takes up the offer, so they buy their tickets. Later, Tiger wakes up and finds a note saying that the family is going west. At least he has an excuse to go and rushes off to find the train, or more specifically, a toolbox underneath one of the cars. That's clever, though I have to imagine what would happen if an engineer tried to access it. Fievel's still sad that he didn't get to say goodbye to Tiger, but don't worry, he'll be back. Of course, to show how lighthearted this movie is compared to the first one, here he is trying to evade all these dogs. And I'm not joking, this goes on for over 2 minutes. Even when he gets on one train, he gets scared off by another dog and must jump onto another train, then gets scared off by another. How many dogs are gonna show up like this?
Dogfish.
Okay, you get that one. Now, I said the animation in this was good, but there are exceptions here and there, like...
Life in New York City is full of dread and fuss. Our dreams are waiting way out west. There's room for all of us.
The hell? It's obviously inspired from No Cats in America, right down to the people giving reasons for wanting to go somewhere else. They sprinkle in some commentary about getting away from a terrible past and starting fresh, but otherwise they mostly repeat the same lyrics over and over. Though some establishing shots are still pretty good. I especially like the wind blowing through the grain in this one shot. Somehow, Tiger ended up on a fishing boat west from where he started, finds yet another dog to be scared by, and tries getting away. When do we get to the west? That night, Fievel sneaks off to the upper cars, because of course we gotta reenact the parts of the first movie where he was separated from his parents. But this time he overhears what the bad guys are trying to do. Along with the spider cowboy Chula, voiced by John Lovitz, Wall tells the other cats to eat the mice after exploiting their labor.
If we talk sweetly, they will come in droves. If we hiss, they will run, and we will have to chase after them. An unnecessary expenditure of calories.
You know them British cats gotta be efficient and intelligent about things. To catch the mice, the cats are going to use a large mousetrap before turning their food into...
Mouse burgers! Yes, mouse burgers indeed.
Sir, I do believe that is a sandwich, not a burger. Fievel blows his cover and is caught. In a rather funny bit, Wall wants him eaten, but is worried that doing so would make the mice suspicious. So he tells Chula to mess with his return to the toolbox by making it look like an accident.
Fievel, my son!
Don't be a fool, Muscovitz!
On the plus side, it's not an ocean this time. He still has a chance to come back. The family is still sad, but it's not the first time they lost him. The other mice are starting to grumble about the town not being as good as advertised. They station themselves near a dripping water tower, but Papa is still sure that Fievel will come back and everything in Green River will be better.
In days it will be a beautiful waterfall. That patch of mud will be a rich field covered with waving grain.
Yeah, but only if the humans allow it. Or in this case, the bad guys. Chula was ordered to fix the leak, so no more water draining. That's when Wall swoops in to offer his bullcrap dream of having cats and mice work together to build a better society.
A world where mothers raise their mouselings without fear. Where musicians receive their proper due. Where young mousets fulfill their every dream. Will you help me build this world?
And he's just lucky that no one recognizes the other cats who raided them the other day. Though the mice could have been desperate, so they're taking chances that they wouldn't otherwise. Anyway, Fievel travels through the hot desert and finds himself victim to the ever-classic mirage trick. Why does one of them have boobs? Tiger is also here and gets tricked by a mirage too. He and Fievel almost fight each other, but because of earlier, they think the other is a mirage as well. Tiger then gets captured by tribal mice. These are bad caricatures, but there is one funny moment in this. Oh, seriously, why does that thing have a face? And guess what? They no longer want to eat him since they see him as a god. As for Fievel, he gets chased down by a hawk. A scorpion also tries getting him before the hawk lifts him up and... This is kinda scary since Fievel is in actual danger. But then we cut back to Tiger eating up the food offered to him, and they decide to shoot down the hawk with... fireworks? And Fievel lands in some of Tiger's food and gets eaten. Luckily, he doesn't stay that way for long.
Waiting for you at the station.
Oh, believe me, I tried to get there, but I was dogged every step of the way.
There you go. Now you can both eat hawk together. Of course, Tiger can't go because the tribe treats him like a god, but he promises to come when he can. Otherwise, he sends Fievel towards Green River via Tumbleweed.
Rollin', 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 rollin'.
Why yes, this is a cover of Rawhide by Ned Washington and Dimitri Tomkin. This cover specifically was done by Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, and reused from the Blues Brothers. Due to rights issues, it would be removed from the soundtrack, but you do get it in this movie. But I gotta wonder how Fievel is gonna feel after he stops rolling. He gonna hurl like crazy?
Excuse me, Mr. Dog.
Another tumbleweed asked me for help.
Well, now we know why his last name is Burp, and I guess the mice don't care if the humans are around while they build whatever it is they're making. I guess it's a dedicated town, though the architecture is weird even by mouse standards. Also at this point you can kinda see more cracks in the animation. Shows how only so much can be done by a single group. Fievel reunites with his family and he tries telling them about what he went through and what Wall is up to, but...
Giant mousetrap and Tiger is a god? I think Fievel's been out in the sun too long.
You'd think he would be a little more open to what Fievel has to say, especially given the last movie, but I guess not. And all that work to build a saloon? And bear in mind, this is underneath the one for humans, but given the size of some objects and the height of this porch, this place looks bigger than normal. How do none of the humans see this? Anyway, we're reminded of Wall's plan through this flip book. I guess it really is going to be a mouse burger since it looks like one.
Mouse burger! Let the saliva flow! Mouse
burger! La 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 la.
I would be down for this ridiculously sadistic plan from a John Cleese character, but he's only getting away with this because the mice are completely clueless, even when he's revealing his plans right beside them. Fievel pokes him with a fork, leading to a quick gag with a rather horny lady.
Pussy, 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 pussy.
Because pussy! Get it? Fievel is caught, again. But before Wall can eat him, he overhears Tanya singing a song.
See what I mean? There's a world inside no one else ever sees. You will see what I see. Dreams
I'd like to think he's just interested in her singing talent, because even though Tanya looks like a teenager, she's still quite a bit younger than he is. He brings her to Miss Kitty, who doesn't seem to like living out here in the West.
That I dislike being referred to as Pussy Poos.
Yeah? Well, maybe I'm not so happy about being dumped in nature's ashtray 500 miles from a pastrami sandwich either.
Okay, I know she's saying ashtray, but I can't help but hear ashtray. But despite her tough gal demeanor, she does have a soft side. She bonds with Tanya because she also has dreams of becoming a singer.
You wouldn't be an artiste if you weren't just a teensy bit nervous.
I'm not pretty.
And says who? You can be whatever you want if you just believe in yourself.
And to be honest, I really do like this scene. I enjoy Miss Kitty being a feline companion to Tanya like Tiger is to Fievel. She does attempt to help Tanya grow more since she has now set some kind of end goal. Fievel doesn't really have an arc this time around. He's just going about trying to stop an evil cat from murdering people. So it falls on other characters to be more nuanced and interesting. And hell, we see that Miss Kitty still misses Tiger despite what she told him.
So, do you like yourself?
I look like a real lady.
But again, I have to assume Tanya is old enough to put on this diva act that she wanted to do, because I'm not sure I like how all the adults are suddenly eyeing her once she gets good.
So tell me you will never roam. You'll be by your fireside.
It does make for a fun song sequence. Anyway, Fievel escapes but is unable to warn Tanya. He's sad and confides his worries to Wiley, though he doesn't realize it's his idol at first. Fievel then begs for his help, but Wiley turns him down because he's too old and depressed, so he decides to ask his god friend next.
We're going to Green River, I'm going to stay right here, so give my, regards to everybody.
Well, he says that, but the smell of Miss Kitty's perfume on Fievel gets Tiger to listen. He doesn't like the idea of needing to be a dog, though.
Anyone can be a god, but it takes grit to be a dog.
You might want to reverse that. So begins Tiger's character arc, the one other good thing I like about this movie. It takes a bit, but once he reaches a certain point with his confidence, he starts acting more dog-like. Now cue the training montage. More like, be a dog. Huh? His deputy badge is more like a collar for Fido. But whatever, he's ready to kick ass. Time to go back to town with a dramatic slow cowboy walk. But at the rate they're going, they might not make it in time, since Wall is about to hold the ceremony to trap all the mice for his master plan. Only Tanya isn't there, since she's on the roof with Miss Kitty. And again, no one notices how evil Wall is acting as he prepares to cut this ribbon. So instead of guns, our heroes use slingshots. Must be the Usopp school of fighting. No joke, that is how they fight.
I'm behind you, kid.
And I'm not gonna lie, I do like this action sequence. Even the one-liners before the fight are rad.
We've come to close you down. Okay, chaps, it's become necessary to put these dogs through obedience school. Kill?
It took them this long for the film to feel like a Western, and all things considered, it's a lot of fun at this point. The mice realize what's happening but are unable to leave. Miss Kitty finally realizes that the mice are in a trap, so Tanya goes down to warn them. Wall hesitates in setting off said trap, but quickly gets over it and starts shooting anything that moves. Wiley launches Fievel at Wall to take control of the situation, but now Chula has Kitty hostage. How sad that a spider can overpower a cat, even if he is kinda big. So it's up to Tiger to go all dog on everybody's ass.
I never taught him that.
And he rescues Miss Kitty in epic fashion.
Okay, Wiley.
Let him rip.
Okay, I didn't want to say anything, but for some reason they keep showing this green cloud. What's up with that? And yeah, our heroes put all the villains on the giant mouse trap so Fievel can shoot the ribbon and launch them out of town. They land in a mailbag that gets taken by a passing train, leading to the return of the booby lady.
Mommy's going to take care of you forever and ever and ever.
Activating the trap also broke the water tower, causing the water to pour out and help the plants grow. But if we're being honest, it's not going to be enough and nothing would have changed. Tanya learns to be more like herself, Papa breaks out the tunes, Tiger and Kitty possibly make out. Wiley sees that his job is done and is about to leave, but not before giving Fievel his sheriff badge.
I don't know what's out there beyond those hills. But if you ride yonder, head up, eyes steady, heart open, I think one day you'll find that you're the hero you've been looking for.
So, that was Fievel Goes West. It was entertaining, but it felt a little empty too. Despite being the title character, Fievel doesn't have much of a compelling arc as he had in the first movie. He dreams of being a brave cowboy, goes through half of what he experienced in the first movie, then gets his idol to mentor his best friend to save people. Not really that interesting compared to getting lost in a new world and finding family beyond the one he was born to. At least Tanya had a more interesting character journey, short as it was, and I did like her friendship with Miss Kitty. Tiger's transformation from cat to dog was also a pretty decent side story. Cat Arwal was an enjoyable villain too, all things considered. He was certainly funnier and more charismatic than Warren T. Rat in the first movie, so he carried parts of the movie too. All this is fine since the sequel is weaker than its predecessor in terms of story. There's still some commentary about immigrants and their plights in the time period that this movie took place in, but most of this movie just tries for more lighthearted humor in place of an engaging story. All that said though, I didn't hate Fievel Goes West at all. It's a step above the other sequels of Don Bluth movies, because even if the story was on the weaker side, it was still fun towards the end. It also helps that the animation quality is more than serviceable and there were some good music tracks from the returning James Horner. It certainly feels like there's half a good idea here that made it into the final product. It's just unfortunate that it didn't turn out quite as well as it could have been. Granted, most reviews of it were positive to mixed, and this movie made back $41 million over a $16 million budget. But perhaps it was a bit of an omen, as future installments couldn't even match the modest successes of Fievel Goes West, whether it be the TV series and the two other sequel films by Universal Cartoon Studios. So, for what it's worth, this movie is best enjoyed if you aren't expecting it to match the first American Tail. When the humor hits just right, it is rather funny. It's also well animated, the action is well done, and you can find worse uses of your time. I am the Media Hunter. Media is my prey, and reviewing them my way.